Vlad the Impaler, a Transylvanian prince, turns himself into a vampire to protect his family and the kingdom from the invading Turkish forces. In the Middle Ages, Vlad the Impaler is the Prince of Transylvania. As a child, he was enslaved by the Turkish Empire and trained to be a soldier in the Sultan's elite Janissary corp, where he became their most feared warrior, nicknamed the Impaler, after slaughtering thousands. Eventually sickened by his acts, he put aside his past and returned to rule Transylvania in peace. He lives with his loving wife, Myrina, and their young son, Indras. Despite his dark past, he is devoted to protecting his family and people. One day in the forest, Vlad and his soldiers discover a Turkish helmet in a stream and fear that a Turkish scouting party is preparing the way for invasion. They follow the stream to a high mountain cave. Inside, the ground is carpeted in crushed bone, and they are attacked in the dark by an unknown creature. The creature kills Vlad's men effortlessly, but Vlad barely escapes, realizing that something dark and evil lurks within the mountain. And the creature does not follow him. He returns to his castle, where he learns from Brother Lucian, a local monk of the Romanian Orthodox Church, that the creature is a vampire, once a general from the Roman legions named Caligula, who was tricked by a demon for power but was trapped in the cave. The next day, as Vlad celebrates Easter with his wife Myrina, his son Indras, and his subjects, a Turkish contingent arrives unexpectedly at the castle. Vlad offers them the usual tribute payment of silver coins, but the emissary notes that a battalion of Turkish scouts has gone missing, implying that Vlad has had them killed, and demands an additional tribute of 1,000 boys for the Janissaries. Vlad refuses, but his army is small and no match for the Turks. Vlad attempts diplomacy and meets with Mehmed, who is an old childhood friend but is now a ruthless ruler. He offers himself in place of the boys, but the Sultan refuses. Mehmed mocks Vlad's weakness and increases his demand. He wants Vlad's son personally handed over as a token of loyalty. Torn between duty and fatherhood, Vlad makes a fateful decision. He refuses and kills the Ottoman envoys. Knowing that this will lead to war, in desperation, Vlad returns to the vampire's cave to seek help. Inside, Vlad encounters the Master Vampire, a cursed being who has lived for centuries. The Master Vampire offers Vlad incredible power, strength, speed, heightened senses, and immortality, but at a great cost. Vlad will have the power of a vampire for 3 days. If he resists drinking human blood in those 3 days, he will return to normal. If he drinks blood, he will remain a vampire forever, cursed for eternity. Driven by desperation to protect his people and son, Vlad drinks the vampire's blood and undergoes a painful, nightmarish transformation. His eyes turn black, his veins darken, and his body fills with immense power. He is now stronger than ever, but he senses the hunger for blood growing within him. He wakes up in the forest, and Vlad discovers he has been granted heightened senses, increased strength, and the ability to transform into a flock of bats, but his skin slowly burns in direct sunlight. When he returns to the castle, the Turkish army launches a brutal attack on the castle. Now he has superhuman strength, speed, enhanced senses, and the ability to control bats, that make him nearly unstoppable. He uses these abilities to fight the Ottoman army and kills all of them by himself. He then sends most of the castle's subjects to Kozia Monastery, which is situated on the edge of a mountain. He struggles to control his growing thirst for human blood. A gypsy named Shkelgim, who knows Vlad is a vampire, proclaims himself as his servant and offers his blood, but Vlad resists. Vlad's thirst for blood intensifies. He begins to struggle against the burning desire to drink human blood, especially as his body weakens from resisting. During the journey, Myrina learns of Vlad's curse but accepts that he will regain his mortality once the Turks are defeated. As they near the monastery, the Transylvanians are ambushed by Turkish soldiers, and while Vlad and his men successfully repel them, Vlad's sudden increased strength arouses suspicion among his subjects. Meanwhile, Mehmed, upon hearing of Vlad's terrifying abilities, sends an even larger army to wipe out Transylvania completely. The next day at the monastery, a monk learns of the curse and leads the Transylvanians to turn on Vlad, trapping him in a burning building. Black smoke blocks out the sun, allowing an outraged Vlad to escape the fire. And he angrily reveals that he became a vampire for the sole purpose of protecting his people from the Turks. This emotional moment shows his struggle between his humanity and his growing monstrous nature. His wife, Myrina, remains his anchor, reminding him of his goodness and humanity. She begs him to hold on until the 3 days are over. Vlad and his people reach the monastery, thinking they are safe. However, Mehmed's army attacks in the night, slaughtering the civilians. That night, the Turkish army marches on the monastery. Vlad commands an enormous swarm of bats to repel them. He uses supernatural abilities, including enhanced strength, speed, and the ability to transform into a swarm of bats, to slaughter the enemy forces. However, the soldiers are actually a decoy force, allowing a handful of Turks to infiltrate the monastery and kidnap Indras. Myrina tries to defend her son and falls from the edge of the monastery wall. Despite his immense power, Vlad is unable to prevent Myrina from falling off the monastery's edge. As she lies dying in Vlad's arms, she begs him to drink her blood so he can gain the full power needed to save their son. In one of the most emotional moments, Vlad, devastated, succumbs to his curse and drinks her blood, completing his transformation into a true vampire. With his final shred of humanity gone, Vlad unleashes his full power. He turns all the remaining Transylvanian survivors into vampires, creating his undead army. At the Turkish camp, Mehmed prepares for a massive invasion of Europe. Vlad's vampires arrive and massacre the soldiers, while Vlad himself goes after Mehmed, who is holding Indras captive. Aware that vampires are weakened by silver, Mehmed has lined the floor of his tent with silver coins and fights Vlad with a silver sword. He overpowers Vlad and prepares to impale his heart with a wooden stake. But Vlad turns into a flock of bats and evades him. Taking the name Dracula, son of the devil, he kills Mehmed and drinks his blood. As they leave Mehmed's tent, Dracula and Indras are confronted by the other vampires, who demand that his son be killed. Because he is human, the monk who had previously led the Transylvanians against Vlad appears and keeps the vampires at bay with the Christian cross. Dracula orders the monk to take Indras away, then uses his power to clear the black clouds in the sky. The sunlight burns the vampires into dust, while Dracula collapses into a charred corpse. With Europe saved from invasion, Indras is crowned the new prince of Transylvania, and Vlad the Impaler is presumed dead. However, Shkelgem secretly takes Dracula into the shadows and revives him with his blood. In the present day, Vlad meets a woman named Mina, who strikingly resembles Myrina, in the streets of a modern city, and they have a conversation about a line of poetry they have in common. The vampire who cursed Vlad watches them from afar and anticipates what he has planned for Dracula in the future, saying, "Let the games begin." If you enjoyed diving deep into the story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated.